Well, that's that then. The end of the Unai Emery and Freddie era. Mikel Arteta begins tomorrow, and we've drawn today 0-0 against Everton. Now, bad result, yes, but the positive is an away clean sheet. Can we get a round of applause for the Arsenal defence? Hooray! We managed to get a clean sheet away from home. Is that our first one since Newcastle at the start of the season? I think it might have been in the Premier League at least. Absolutely shocking record away from home and at home of recent, but at least we've got that. There's a silver lining to this draw today against Everton, and that is the fact we've come away with a clean sheet. I thought the defence were okay today. I think Maitland-Niles did an okay job. I think, well, Chambers got man of the match, at least on BT Sport, which is where I was watching it, and I think rightly so. I think Chambers was actually one of our best players today. I don't think David Luiz had a particularly bad game defensively, but he was reckless. Very, very reckless. He's basically a flamboyant rugby player. You know, he's got a wicked pass on him. There are some incredible scenes when he picks up the ball in defence and he just pings it 80 yards to perfection. And that is a sight to behold. It's great, okay? But he's Sideshow Bob from Simpsons. Like, he's a clown. he's not reliable at all when it comes to, well, just relying on him to make a good tackle, to make a challenge when it really matters, because quite often it's not great. Xhaka at left back. So for those of you who haven't seen the lineup, we played with it looked to be a 4-2-3-1, and we had Xhaka playing at left back because, of course, Tierney's out till March. Dislocated shoulder, I think it was. Terrible injury to have. And, of course, Kolasinac is not fit either. So we had to go with Xhaka. Now, I kind of assumed we'd be going with three at the back today against Everton because we don't have a left back. And therefore, you can put Xhaka at left wing back and you can still get forward. But no, Freddie decided to go with a 4-2-3-1. Or did Freddie decide that? It might be that Arteta had some kind of control over this game. There's no doubt in my mind that he was part of the team talk at half-time. I think he would have probably gone in and seen the lads at half-time, and I'm pretty sure that Freddie would have asked, is there anything you want me to do today? Maybe not, maybe so, who knows? But I think Xhaka did okay at left-back. Don't get me wrong, he's done a job, and it's definitely not a job that he should be doing, but he did okay. I just think maybe actually a three at the back formation would have been better today, and we could have had Maitland-Niles and Xhaka playing wing-back. But do you know what? You can't really criticise the defence today because we got a clean sheet, right? That's their job. So, and Leno, solid as ever. Didn't really have to do too much there. I thought Everton, although they weren't exactly better than Arsenal today, but they weren't much worse than us. They didn't have too many solid chances, whereas we had a few big chances where Aubameyang, the normal Aubameyang that's fully committed and raring to go would have bagged them or put them away, but today didn't look committed to me. We'll get onto that. Let's talk about the midfield. We had the partnership of Granit Xhaka and Torreira. Now, when I saw the lineup, I did think to myself, that might be an issue because we know that Torreira does end up pushing forward, and that will leave Xhaka on his own in midfield, away from home, against a pretty powerful Everton side. And he hasn't got the legs to keep up. But Granit Xhaka, I have to give him credit. He was pretty good today. Didn't really do too much wrong. The good thing about Granit Xhaka is he's able to move the ball along quickly. When he does that, it kind of makes sense to throw him into the team. But when he's not doing that, he's nothing but a nuisance for our team. He just causes issues more than anything. So I was kind of happy to see that. But I'm pretty sure that will be potentially his last appearance for Arsenal. There are very strong links that he's going to Hertha Berlin for a record 45 million euros. I don't know if I believe that for a second. Half of that is probably what he's really worth. But if you think about it, he's 27 now. He's certainly a leader and he's got a lot of experience. He is worth, at least I would say, around as much as we paid for him, which was £35 million, I think. So that would put him around 45 million euros. Hertha Berlin would be breaking all-time records, all sorts of records in the Bundesliga. They don't really spend big in that league, so certainly an interesting one. Is it going to be his final game for Arsenal? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be upset if he leaves. I think we can do much, much better. Bring in someone else in that's more fitting to what we want to do with Arteta, which is going to be high press, moving the ball around quickly, and relying on clever players to do their job. And I think Xhaka can be good sometimes, but most of the time just doesn't work out. But today he was good, and Torreira next to him worked really well. I'm surprised it worked so well, actually. I think it was a case of Everton just not being at their best, which isn't a rare occurrence this season, let's be fair. Yeah, I thought Torreira was good as well. I think he got forward a lot, he got back a lot and helped out defensively, got a few key interceptions in there, and most importantly, when he was getting forward, he was contributing, he was getting through balls back behind the defence. And have we maybe come away with a draw when we should have got a win? Yes. I think we had the chances to win the game, and I think Torreira was a big part of that. And then on the right, we had Nelson, surprising, seeing as Pepe was on the bench. And then we had Smith Rowe playing behind the striker at the number 10 role, and I thought he was good. And then we had Martinelli, my favourite Arsenal player right now. Honestly, one of our best players at the moment, which is pretty crazy. And I think he had a bit of an off game today. I think Martinelli was almost trying too hard. I think he knows now that he's pretty much top of the pecking order when it comes to that left side. He's kind of owning that position right now. I love his work rate. I love his attitude. I love the fact that he's angry at himself if he gets something wrong. He's always chasing down the ball, and that's exactly what Arteta will want to see. But today, there was one big chance he had where he got through on goal, and he's just blasted it near post, and it's gone wide, when maybe if he just, maybe a bit more experience, or if he just slowed himself down a bit, maybe taken one more touch, whatever it may have been, just to get a shot to the far post, it might have been easier for him. I don't know. It's difficult when you're in that position, and he's a footballer, not me. So it was unlucky, I guess. And then Aubameyang up top, I've got to say, I've just got a bad feeling about this, guys. He doesn't look like he wants to be there. He looked dejected when he came off. Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Because Aubameyang is the whole reason we're not in the relegation zone. This guy has been carrying us on his back since he arrived, and I'm a big fan of Aubameyang. But just like Granit Xhaka, strong links at the moment. Aubameyang potentially going to Barcelona or Real Madrid. I don't know how reliable these reports are, but it makes sense, doesn't it? Some big clubs hopping on someone like Aubameyang, who's playing for a club that are really struggling. And quite clearly, Aubameyang is Champions League level. We all know it. He's one of the most... He's a great finisher. He's one of the top strikers in the world, that's for sure. Barcelona maybe need a striker. Suarez isn't quite cutting it. Griezmann hasn't really got going yet. And then Madrid, I don't know. It's tough to know what's going on, but this doesn't bode well. I think one of the first things that Arteta has to do when he comes in from tomorrow is tie Aubameyang down, even if it's just 1 or 2 extra years on his contract. Losing him for free, let alone for 40, 50 mil, would be a travesty. Lacazette is in a similar situation. Is he going to be here in a couple of years? I don't know, man, and it's worrying because who do we have that's better or even close? No one. So that's key for me. But today we saw an Aubameyang that wasn't at the races. He definitely did not have a good game today. Very poor in front of goal. And on another day, I reckon he would have got a double today. He would have come away with 2 goals, and we would have got the 3 points, which we so dearly needed. I was sitting here just hoping I would hear my phone ping, because normally the stream is behind, and just hoping it would say Arsenal goal. And we needed it today. We really did. But lots of thoughts I'm sure Arteta will be having after that game. Freddie's done an okay job. I think he's come in a very tough time, and there's no training some of these players, and I don't think that even Arteta is going to have a chance to really get anything changing anytime soon. So it's a really tough task, and I think Freddie's done himself proud, and I think he's linked with, is it Malmo in Sweden? I mean, if he doesn't stay on the coaching staff, that would be a real shame, but if he does move on, I'd love to see him manage a club like Malmo, and then eventually, who knows, he'll come back and be permanent manager if Arteta doesn't work out or whatever. But I think Arteta will work out, and I think today would have been a massive help for him to see the young players in action. I mean, was that just a statement? The fact that we are leaving Lacazette and Pepe on the bench and playing the kids, you know, a lot of young players, a lot of young English players, which is great to see, but it almost felt like this game didn't mean anything to us. Putting a team out like that, it felt like a cup game, you know, like a round 2 Carabao Cup game against Everton's kids, you know. So not having Pepe come on, I think, was disappointing. I think he would have done better than Nelson, who was okay. He ran at the defence a few times, and it always ended up as a throw because they would just get a touch on it or whatever. Same with Martinelli, really. Couldn't really get in behind too many times. And when he did, he made the wrong decisions. But 0-0, what can you say? At least it is a clean sheet. That is a big thing. And it's not a loss. We come away where Chelsea lost quite recently. And Everton have been reinvigorated, haven't they? Since the new manager's come in. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not really a big fan of Big Dunk. I think that's what you call him, Big Duncan Ferguson. I think there's something about him. He's a bit of a bully. I don't know if he's ever going to really make it as a manager if he's like that. You know, taking off players that you've just brought on, like last week with Keane, shattering players' confidence. And he's done it again today. He's brought on Tosun when Iwobi, unfortunately, came off injured and then took Tosun off in the second half, which I get. He wasn't performing very well, but it's awful as a player, I'm sure, to be called upon and then taken off. Especially if it's within 20 minutes like it was with Keane. And especially if it's just a kid. He's 19 years old. He absolutely destroyed Keane last week at, was it Manchester United? It was really harsh. And I just don't get a good feeling from Ferguson. I don't think he's it. So I'm sure a lot of Everton fans would appreciate the impact he had. And there's no doubt in my mind they will be fine, especially now that Ancelotti has been confirmed as their new coach. They will be fine. They won't be relegated this season, but I'm sure they're happy to see that that's now changing, that Ferguson is on his way out. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe you Everton fans could let me know in the comments. Did you like the bullyish, no-nonsense type management that you did? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to this modern era of managers basically not being able to control players. It's all about the players and their agents these days, and you have to be gentle with players. You can't bully them. You can't be too harsh on them, and they have to be paid a lot of money, otherwise they're unhappy. You know, I understand where Ferguson maybe just thinking, nah, I'm not having that. If you're playing bad, you're coming off, no matter if I've just brought you on or not. So Big Dunk on his way out did a decent job, and it's similar to Freddie on his way out. Didn't do anything too special, but I think Freddie really tried his best, and that's all you can ask, really. So now we move on into the Arteta era. I think we've got Bournemouth midweek, have we not? Away from home. Or is it at home? I can't quite remember. Yeah, I wonder what Arteta's going to do. Is he going to play the kids? Because that did feel like a real statement. If he did have slight control on the lineup today, or if it was just Freddie, it was just a statement, wasn't it, to the senior players? You know, you're not guaranteed to start here. You know, we've got kids that are hungry to play, and we'll play them. So maybe that will send a message. Or it was just maybe in training, a lot of the other players like Lacazette, Pepe just haven't been performing. I think Pepe, I can see it on him that there seems to be some sort of attitude. It's difficult to know, obviously, because I don't know him, but he looks so happy after the West Ham game, and since then it's like, yeah, we're just going to put Nelson in. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, but at least we come away with a point. It could have been worse today, but it could have been a lot better. But the clean sheet really is a massive bonus for me. I'm so happy. I don't know how many shots we actually took today. Let's have a look, because typically we've been conceding 15 to 20 shots every game. Today we only conceded 9 shots to Everton, which, I mean, it's not great still, but it's a big improvement. But we only had 6 shots ourselves. We dominated possession, dribbles, aerials, stats like that, but doesn't really mean anything, does it? I'm just happy that we have been able to shut up shop a little bit better today, and defensively we were better. But I would really like to see Holding back in this team instead of David Luiz. I honestly think Bellerin, Chambers, Holding and Tierney is a solid back four when they're all fit. I don't think David Luiz should really be playing. I don't rate him that highly, honestly. The only good thing is the passing, as I said. And, you know, he gets out, he runs forward a little bit and maybe puts a pass through, which can work. But some of the clumsy challenges today, I'm surprised he didn't get sent off, actually. Or at least did he get a yellow card in the end? I can't quite remember that either. But yeah, I don't know, man. My man of the match personally was Chambers. I agree with the guys at BT Sport who gave it to him. Let me know who your man of the match was. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And roll on the next game with Mikel Arteta at the helm. I'm super, super excited to see how we get on in our first game with him in charge.